Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cryptonews Weekly Roundup. Your hosts here, Matt Zahab and Rachel Wolfson. We are buzzing as always. Lovely week in Toronto. Rachel, how is Texas treating you? I'm so jealous. I miss Texas and I got to get back there soon. But how's it treating you? How's everything right now?
Good, Matt. Everything is nice and hot here in Austin, Texas, which I like. And I know we've got some exciting crypto news of the week, so excited to get into it.
I love it. Let's jump into it, folks. Pretty chill week this week. Not much big news to report, but we did get a couple bangers Thursday morning as we record. Bitcoin's down 1.6% to 116K per BTC. ETH is up 1% to 3.859 per ETH. XRP is down 1.3% to $3.07 per XRP. Sol is down 3.3% to just over $170 at $1.71. Everything else pretty even on the week. No one's up or down more than 4% in the top 10. Pretty standard, pretty chill week for crypto news. But we got some big news. The sort of crypto and TradFi convergence continues to dominate news flow as Peter Thiel's backed crypto exchange Bullish, which I don't know too many people who use Bullish, Rachel, but I see them everywhere at crypto conferences. They have great branding. Clearly, they're making enough money as they just filed for a US IPO on the New York Stock Exchange at a $4.23 billion valuation. Wild stuff here to kick off the show.
Yeah, Matt. So according to its preliminary prospectus, the company plans to offer 20.30 million ordinary shares at a proposed price range of $28 to $31 per share. Based on that pricing, the offering could raise between 568 million and 629 million. Bullish has applied to list its shares on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker BLSH. If approved, it would mark one of the largest public market entries by a crypto firm this year. This is exciting news. Can't wait to see what happens here.
Yep, Kraken plans for IPO, Bullish plans for IPO. Crypto IPO season is back. This is fresh off the press. This new piece of news, Donald Trump has just signed a landmark executive order that will reshape how millions of Americans build wealth by opening the doors of the $9 trillion US retirement market to cryptocurrencies, private equity, and other alternative assets. Pretty wild here. More than 90 million US workers participate in 401k plans right now, and this is historically focused on equities and bonds. For decades, these plans have excluded entire categories of high growth assets, including Bitcoin and other digital currencies. However, this is about to change. If you have Bitcoin, if you have ETH, if you want or have crypto exposure, you can now toss it into your 401k and get that tax-free exposure. Crazy stuff here, which we love to see. My favorite piece of news of the week. Shout out Trump. He's doing God's work for us and for us over on the crypto side. Speaking of Trump and the White House and banking and the convergence of TradFi and crypto, Rachel, banks could now face fines for debanking crypto firms under a new White House order.
Yeah, Matt. So this is another piece of interesting news. The White House is reportedly preparing an executive order that would penalize banks for dropping customers over political or ideological reasons in a move aimed at curbing what conservative and crypto firms have long called financial discrimination. A draft of the order, viewed by the Wall Street Journal, instructs bank regulators to investigate whether financial institutions have breached laws like the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, antitrust statutes, or consumer protection rules. Banks found in violation could face fines, consent decrees, or other penalties. Additionally, the draft gives regulators the power to refer certain cases directly to the Department of Justice. I'm very curious to see what happens here. This is another piece of interesting news that we've just got to keep an eye on.
Well said, Rachel. Moving forward, another piece of wild news this week, folks. Arkham uncovers a 3.5 billion, yes, that is billion with a B, $3.5 billion theft from a Chinese mining pool stolen in 2020, the largest theft and hack ever in all of crypto. This happened in 2020. There were 127,426 Bitcoin stolen from a Chinese mining pool called Lubian. The attack exploited weaknesses in Lubian's private key system with over 90% of its Bitcoin drained in a single day. Not too sure how this wasn't uncovered earlier and just came to fruition this week. Lubian attempted to contact the hacker via Bitcoin's OP_return feature. No luck, but Arkham has finally uncovered this hack and is looking to help Lubian return their funds. Pretty wild stuff here. Speaking of wild stuff, another day, another corporate treasury code. This time, NASDAQ listed Mill City as a $500 million raise for Facebook's old token, and now SUI. Pretty wild stuff here. SUI strategy coming in hot.
Yeah, Matt. Mill City plans to raise $500 million to expand its SUI token treasury after $450 million initial investment. The stock dropped over 11% following the announcement, despite being up 165% since July 24th. Mill City is positioning itself as the first institutional-grade SUI treasury with official backing.
Another day, another crypto treasury co. Honestly, I mean, SUI is a great one, and this is good for the team. We're also close to the SUI team. Shout out the SUI team. Moving forward, Tornado Cash in the news. I thought Tornado Cash was good. It appears they aren't. A Manhattan jury just found Tornado Cash co-founder and developer Roman Storm guilty of charges related to a conspiracy to run an unlicensed money business. The jury convicted Roman on a conspiracy to run an unlicensed money transmittal business, but of a mouthful, which carries a maximum sentence of up to 5 years in prison. No unanimity was reached on charges of conspiracy, and there was nothing that also violated North Korea's sanctions. He was indicted in August of 2023 for money laundering, conspiracy to operate an unlicensed money transmitter business, and conspiracy to violate U.S. sanctions. He pleaded not guilty and has been free on bail since his arraignment. However, this parade has come to an end, and he very well may be slammed and get the slammer a couple years behind bars. Pretty wild stuff there. Again, some more unfortunate news this week, Rachel. An investor lost $3 million in a crypto phishing scam after signing a malicious transaction. We are covering this not because it's bad news, but because everyone should always know about the newest and best hacks coming out so you can be aware of them. Rachel, balls in your court here.
Yeah, Matt. So basically, the loss was flagged by blockchain analytics platform Look On Chain on Wednesday. It underscores the rising threat of phishing attacks targeting digital asset holders. The attacker exploited a common habit among crypto users, validating only the first and last few characters of a wallet address while ignoring the middle. Look On Chain issued a warning following the incident, urging users to remain vigilant. They said on X, stay alert, stay safe. One wrong click can drain your wallet. Never sign a transaction you don't fully understand. Great advice. Hopefully we don't see any more of this happening moving forward.
Yeah, well said. Coinbase in the news this week. After a bit of a heater and reclaiming their all-time high, Coinbase is raising $2 billion through a private sale of convertible senior notes after a weak Q2 earnings report. Right after the earnings report, Coin, that is their ticker, dropped 15%. The notes will mature in 2029 and 2032 and will target institutional buyers under Rule 144A. The proceeds will fund capped call transactions and general corporate needs, including possible debt buyback. Pretty risk-free move by Coinbase here, but it is a little bit of a, I don't want to say last ditch effort, but this ideally wasn't planned. But again, when revenue drops and you don't hit your quarterly estimates, sometimes you got to raise some money, and that's what they've done. Another IPO, Rachel, Figure, back in the news, confidential IPO filing as they rush for another IPO. Crazy stuff here.
Yeah, Figure Technologies has submitted a confidential IPO filing as crypto companies rush to the public markets following Circle's 160% debut surge and $4.2 billion Bullish exchange listing. The filing coincides with Figure's simultaneous pursuit of regulatory approval for what became the first interest-bearing stablecoin regulated as a security within the United States.
Solana Mobile. I was thinking of buying one of these. I actually don't even know if Canada allows these, but Solana Mobile ships 150,000 Seeker phones to 50 countries and SOL jumps 2%. They also have an SKR token airdrop, which is targeting $67.5 million in revenue. The device is priced between $450 and $500, featuring premium specs, including a MediaTek 8-core processor, 8 gigs of RAM paired with 128 gigs of storage, and a 4500 mAh battery with wireless charging capability. Again, this is directly tied to the Solana Foundation, Solana Mobile. Pretty cool stuff here. Don't know if anyone will actually use these. I think this may be just airdrop related. I don't know how anyone would change from an iPhone, but either way, good for Solana. We love to see it. And Sol got a little jump from this. More regulatory clarity this week, Rachel. The SEC finally clarified crypto liquid staking and they gave it the green light, and this will now open the door for U.S. institutional adoption.
Yeah, Matt. So the U.S. SEC published new guidance that may accelerate institutional adoption of liquid staking. In a statement released Tuesday, the agency's Division of Corporate Finance outlined its view that certain liquid staking arrangements, including the issuance of receipt tokens like STETH, do not constitute securities transactions. The clarification represents progress for the decentralized finance industry, which has long sought regulatory certainty around staking models. It also shows a potential shift in how U.S. regulators approach blockchain-based innovations.
Yeah, well said there. Last piece of news this week, another corporate treasury co goes live. Verb Technology Company Inc., NASDAQ listed Verb, that's VERB, is set to become the world's first publicly traded company to adopt Toncoin, that is TON, that is Telegram's native coin. The PIPE, which stands for Private Investment and Public Equity Deal, involves the sale of approximately 50.7 million shares, including pre-funded warrants priced at $9.51 per share, matching Verb's NASDAQ closing price on August 1st. The transaction is expected to close on or around August 7th, which is today. And again, $558 million in gross proceeds that will be pumped into Toncoin. Pretty wild stuff. And the shares rocketed 193%. Good for Verb Technology Company. Rachel, another week. Another great Crypto News Weekly Roundup. Seems like the same trends are still popping up. I'm not sure when things are going to change, but I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. And it's always a pleasure doing this with you guys. If you guys enjoyed this one, and we hope you did, please do subscribe, hammer that like button. It would mean the world to our team. Speaking of the team, love you guys. Thank you so much for everything as always. And to the listeners and the viewers, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully we have some great news next week. Hopefully we have some more green on the board. Enjoy your summer. Go touch some grass, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye. Thanks, Matt. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.